Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. Okay, so here we are for another week of fantastic questions. We're going to get to them in just a minute. Before we do, you thought I was going to do the YouTube club plug, but I'm not. I'm going to apologise for the little stuffy voice that I've got because I'm all bunged up and I don't know why. I just got over a cold and then got another one. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm like on like consecutive colds at the minute. Like they're coming after me. I'm fighting them off. I'm winning. I'm here doing the video. But they keep coming and I won't stop fighting. So apologies if the voice sounds a bit bunged up, but that's why, all right? Okay, but let's get started. Before we jump into the questions, YouTube magic, all right? Set out the YouTube ninja robots, all right? What you have to do, you have to like, share, subscribe, put a comment down below, and then you have to activate notifications, all right? This will help us grow the Kendo population. That's really important you do this. Now, I know I say this every episode, and I'm sure most of you have already done it, but we need to do it every time. We need to be consistent, like these cold viruses are consistently trying to infect me. We have to be doing the same to the YouTube ninja robots so that we can increase the Kendo population, all right? We've increased it by 6 million people last year. We're already at more than 3 million so far this year. I think it's something like that. That was it last time I estimated it. It was something around that. We're aiming for 7 million, all right? We're almost in April. We can make it with your help, all right? Like, share, subscribe. Write a comment that uses the word Kendo. What a great Kendo video. This Kendo video is so good. It made me want to start Kendo again, even though I already do it. That's how good Kendo is. Put a comment like that. And then the YouTube ninja robots know what to do. Then you go subscribe. There's a little triangle. Press that as a little bell. That says notifications. So that notifies them to do it, right? It's some sort of combination of that. I'm not sure which order you have to do it in or if it matters. So try it a different order than you did last time. And we might have a better effect. All right? And let's increase the Kendo population. But there's one more, even more important message. I know I'm banging the drum on this every week. And I know it's not necessary because we're all smart people, right? We all love Kendo. We all like getting the best possible Kendo equipment in the galaxy, all right, from the best Kendo equipment store that's ever existed and ever will exist in the future of the human race. That is KendoStar.com. So support the channel by shopping there. Now, I know I don't need to tell you that because you already do, because you're a smart person, all right, because you don't want to buy twice. You know you're going to buy with KendoStar. You don't want to go and buy somewhere else, get disappointed, and then come to us in the end. You're going to do that in the first place. Now, I know I'm saying it, but I have to say it. Just in case there's that one person there that hasn't quite heard the message. All right, we've got to save them from their misery of wasting the money at some pretender. All right, now, of course, I'd say that I own KendoStar, okay? Of course, I'd say that, but check out our reviews. You'll see everybody agrees with us, all right? We're the best in terms of service, best quality. We're just the best you can get, all right? And you support the channel at the same time, all right? Nobody has us beat. I know there's you know, like in the last 12 months, there's like 5 or 6 little pretenders jumping up left, right, and centre, thinking, looking at what we're doing, seeing us smashing it, and think, oh, we want to do that as well. But they don't realise that there can only be one real deal, all right? I'm not operating this out of my little bedroom or whatever. We're an established company. We're our own brand. I'm not a middleman that's going to ship you random stuff, ship it you from somewhere, all right? We're not doing any of that stuff. I'm not selling you, you know, stuff that we haven't designed ourselves. It is our brand and it is long established for a reason. It's world #1 for a reason, all right? So shop at KendoStar.com. Don't buy twice, just buy once. As the ancient Japanese proverb goes, everyone's a winner, baby. That's the truth. So let's get to these questions. Right. Hi, Andy. I have 25 years at practicing Kendo. A couple of months ago, I was diagnosed with high pressure or hypertension. I'm very concerned because my colleagues comment to me that I could leave Kendo training. However, when I practice Kendo, I feel good in very sporadic times. I feel hectic for a short time. Actually, I'm third dan because I left Kendo for a time because I had a shoulder injury. I'd appreciate your comments and recommendations. I know you have lots of experience in this path of Kendo. Maybe you know if more people with hypertension continue practicing Kendo. So I don't know. This is not a good place for me to give you medical advice. I'm not qualified to do that, right? Now, I understand hypertension to be like high blood pressure. And I also understand that actually exercise is a good thing for people with that condition. But at the same time, you shouldn't put your heart under like unnecessary stress. So look, I don't think you have to quit Kendo. I think you can continue Kendo. I just think you have to manage your condition very well. I'd recommend probably talking to your medical professional as well and your dojo leader, your teachers, and working through it, because I think you definitely can do Kendo and continue Kendo, even if it means you can't do half an hour of Kakarigeko, which I'm sure is very, very disappointing for you. All right, but you know, I'm sure you can continue with it. You just have to be sensible. All right, you just have to be sensible, know your limits, and don't push yourself over them. Okay, and I'm sure you'll be able to continue. Okay, next one. What is the etiquette for doing tsuki or gyakudo when facing sensei during jigeko, for example? I was told typically it's frowned upon when I was starting Kendo. Perhaps I was to focus more on correct men or kote. I typically practice with children, so don't practice either strike. Good. I found that not many adults do it either when I go to an open practice. Thank you. Yeah, so I did notice that you live in Japan and practice Kendo in Japan, but it doesn't make a massive difference. Okay, so some of you are not going to like the answer to this, and it's usually people are like 2nd to 4th dan level that don't tend to like this answer. But yeah, it's bad etiquette to do tsuki or gyakudo against sensei. You shouldn't do it. Actually. And the reason for that is when you do keiko with a sensei, it's not gokaku geiko. Okay? It's not gokaku geiko. So if you don't know the difference between gokaku geiko and hikitate geiko, then you definitely shouldn't be throwing tsuki and gyakudo around the place. All right? But gokaku geiko is practice between peers, kendoka on a similar level, and is competitive. And hikitate geiko, or shido geiko it's sometimes called, is when one side is senior to the other. And that senior is using the keiko to raise the other side. Now that can be done in various ways, and that's at the discretion of the senior side. And you don't get to decide who is the senior and the junior in that decision because it is already predetermined. Usually in Japan by the general social hierarchy. And in a Kendo context, that generally goes off age plus Kendo experience. Not necessarily grade, by the way. So yeah. Now, the reason it's poor etiquette and you shouldn't do tsuki or gyakudo against the sensei, unless they are like asking you to, which they don't, is because when you do that, you are essentially sending the person a message that this is gokaku geiko and you think that you're on the same level and you should be competing with each other, all right? If you're trying to tsuki or gyakudo them, it's because you want to try and get an ippon on them, all right? And that isn't the goal of doing keiko with the sensei, is not to score as many ippons as you can. So, yeah. what you're doing, like if you, what you're doing by doing Tsuki is like trying to say to them, like, you know, there's a good chance that if you can do the Tsuki on them, it's because they're trying to invite you to do the men, right? And you're basically saying, no, I'm going to ignore your invitation. I'm going to do what I want so that I can get an ippon. And like hitting Gyakudo on Sensei is like sort of showing off or saying, like, if it's kind of sending the message that oh, I can make you scared enough to lift your hands. Is one way I had a sensei describe it to me. So you just don't do this against the sensei, because it's you're basically telling them you think you have enough seme or influence on them to make them open the Gyakudo. And whether you do or not isn't relevant, by the way. Because that's not how Shido Geiko or Hikitate Geiko works. All right? It's not a competition, all right? So yeah, and if I'm honest with you, when I do Keiko with, I keep meaning to do it. I've talked about it before. I've got a few videos of most of my Keikos from last year with various senseis. I keep meaning to post it, but for the most part, I mainly only hit men and occasionally hit kote. But I don't often hit the kote. I mainly hit the men. I don't do any ojaza really. Maybe sort of, it's not, I don't do any, but I certainly don't do like men kaishido or something like that. I do like, I mean, it's not that you shouldn't do that necessarily, but like, I feel like if I was doing Keiko with the 8th Dan sensei and I did the men kaishido on them, it's because I wasn't brave enough to challenge the Vanamen. So I fail. So yeah. The senseis are not there for you to do Tsuki and Gyakudo on. You save that for Gokaku Geiko. And it's you know, it's for that. Yeah, it's not for using on the senseis, all right? So I know some of you are not going to like it because you like doing your Tsuki. And I was the same. Like when I was 4th Dan, like, you know, stupid young kid that thought I knew everything, just moved to Japan. I'm like skiing these hachidans thinking I'm dead good. And they're like, oh yeah, aren't you so good? Like that. And probably in the back of my mind thinking like, what a jerk. This guy doesn't get it. Like I look back on it cringe, to be honest. But that's what I thought, because you know I was right at the top of that Kendo Dunning-Kruger curve when you're like 3rd Dan, 4th Dan, and you think you know loads and you know nothing. You know zero. Yeah. You know how to do the basics, but you don't know what Kendo is yet. You just think you do. It's funny. It's funny. It's a funny old journey, to be honest with you. Anyway, yeah, that's my answer on that. Or 3rd Dan's in the comments. Go on, do it. Do it. You don't know zero, all right? You know the basics, okay? That's what having 3rd Dan means. Oh, I'm saying it because I was like that, all right? Just trust me, all right? Trust me. Another 15 years, you'll be like, I hope you are anyway. At least if you're not still 3rd Dan in 15 years. Okay. Hi Fish Sensei, if you have time, I'd like to learn more about Tsubuteriai, as it's an area of Kendo that people can quickly score ippon, yeah. For example, sometimes I don't move around much and then start to think about stepping back. The opponent may quickly hikimen and score. It seems to come out of nowhere. So if you could explain some of the basics of Tsubazeri, such as how to move around, how to step back without the opponent from scoring an easy hikimen, and how to get myself into position to perform hikiwaza myself, that'd be great. Actually, I'm just reviewing your YouTube video about hikiwaza, and it does answer my above questions. Thanks in advance. Yeah, good. Watch that video. This video here. It's if you search the Kendo show hikiwaza, I talk a lot about it there. Now, the only thing I'd add to it is, first off, is I filmed that like 6 years ago, 7, maybe more. All right, and it's still very good. It's still very relevant. And I might do a few parts of it a little bit different, and I might revisit it at some point, but the overall message of it is fine. It needs an update because I filmed that well before they changed the rules. But I will film a new one, actually. Now, the main changes, of course, is that you can, obviously, Tsubazeri is still a very, very important and integral. How do you pronounce that word? Is it integral or integral? I think it's integral. Let me know in the comments. It's still a super important part of Kendo. All right, it's still an integral part of Kendo. Integral part. Anyway, it's still an important part of Kendo, right? Because it's not gone. It's just shorter, right? You've got about 3 seconds, all right, to play fairly into Tsubazeri before you both have to separate. There's a lot of nuances to that. So I definitely think it warrants a new video. So I'll make one, right? But otherwise, right, the best way to avoid losing hikiwaza is to learn to do the hikiwaza, all right? If you become the one that hits and not the one that gets hit, then that's the best, all right? But the main thing, and the thing that most people get wrong about Tsubazeri is they start to use it to rest. So the feet go flat and they start walking when you have to keep your Kendo footwork in Tsubazeri as well, and try to think about not necessarily taking the center, but consider the center with control of the center with your shinai as you do Tsubazeri, okay? And it is super important, all right? You don't relax. You have to still focus, look to attack. And if you can't, then separate quickly, okay? Well, watch that video. I think it'll help you a lot. Hey, Fish Sensei, I hope you're well. I was recently recruited to my national team, and while I don't feel ready at all, you never are, I intend to give it my absolute all at the WKC this year. My questions are, have you competed at the WKC? What was it like, and what was the training regimen for it? Additionally, I have a lovely 11,000 hakama on the way for big events in Shinsa. Should I wear that for WKC, or should I opt for something lighter? Okay. Let's talk about the hakama first. 11,000 hakama will be a little bit on the heavier side, but you won't notice it. I've worn that in high-level competition as well. So it's perfectly fine for you to wear at the WKC. You don't need to wear something super light unless you prefer the lighter weight feel of things, right? It's totally up to you. It won't affect your performance. If your performance can be affected by the weight of your hakama, you've got bigger issues. Let's put it that way. Now, have I competed at the WKC? Now, the WKC, by the way, is the World Kendo Championships. It happens every 3 years. Hasn't happened for 6 years because of the whole thing. But it's back, and it's back this year. Yes, I have competed at the WKC. I've competed at 4 WKC, actually, and I've attended 5. I attended the one in Glasgow in 2003 as a spectator, because it was in the UK, and I'm from the north of England, which is only a couple of hours away from Glasgow. So I went and watched that. That inspired me to... I'd only just started Kendo, actually, at that time. And it inspired me to try to compete in the tournament myself. So I worked really, really hard, and I was able to join the national team for the following WKC in 2006 in Taiwan, which I went to. That was a real crazy experience, life-changing in lots of ways. It was huge, it was massive, and I formed important bonds with people from around the world that still last to this day and still benefit my life. massively. Yeah, it was awesome. 3 years later, I was the captain of our team at the next one in Brazil. I went to that one. And then 3 years later, after Brazil, I moved to Japan, and then I participated in the World Championships following that in Italy, in Novara. I think personally that was like my best one. Performance-wise, I did pretty well in that one. And then 3 years later again, when it was in Tokyo, I was in that one too. And that was my last one. That was my last one. That's when I started. After that, that's when I started to set up KendoStar, and my life started to get a little bit more focused on other things, because it had been a massive part of my my life for 13 years. I think I was on the national team in total. So yeah. It was a fantastic experience, and it is a huge honor to participate in the World Kendo Championships. There are hundreds of thousands of people that do Kendo in Japan, certainly, and a massive number of people who would love to participate in the WKC and will never ever get the chance. So I was very blessed to be able to do that, not just once but 4 times. And it is a fantastic event that really celebrates Kendo. So I am delighted for you that you're able to participate in it, and I look forward to seeing you there. I will be there as well this time too. Not as a participant, of course. I'm too old for that now. Leave that to the young ones. Okay, Sensei, I would like to know how to keep the nice shape of the men with the men that are facing diagonally forward. I've no trouble with tying my men at all, and the men fit tightly and monomi fit my eyes perfectly. Overall, after 1 year with multiple Shinsen Shiai, the Myrmidon men still go strong. Good. After tying, I pull the men diagonally forward and I get the shape, but the men gotta go parallel to the ground after I strike big or small men. I might tie it lower, but performance-wise, I think the gear serves me well. Out of curiosity, is there any men designed to allow to tie the hemo a bit lower and showing the shape? I really appreciate it. Okay, I'll tell you right now, the issue you've got, it's not tying the men to, you don't need to tie the men lower. It needs to tie it a bit higher. If the men that are going parallel, your men is tied too low. Like the knot on the men is probably a little bit too low. I'm sure of it. I'd have to see pictures, of course, to be confidently sure of it, but I'm pretty sure of it. All right. You don't need to do any other sort of special shaping and stuff like that, especially with the Myrmidon men. They shape pretty well these days. Gone are the days of like the old-fashioned Borga sets that were like concrete to try and mold them, and you had to tie them up when you weren't using them and stuff like that. You don't have to do that with the modern KendoStar sets, so that we don't make them like that. They shape really pretty easily. But you do have to tie them properly. So I'm sure you're tying it correctly, but I'm just saying that if you're finding that the mendari are falling flat, you need to just move the knot up a little bit, all right? And then throughout your practice, just reshape it every now and again. You know, do your kirikashi, do your kirikashi, high, move around, okay, and then just do your mendari again and do it again. Just to make that into a habit, and it'll sit there, all right? Trust me, it does. Next one, any plans to introduce a combined Shinai and Borga bag into the KendoStar offerings in the near future? Just got back from some international travels, but I had to leave my Shinai and Shinai bag behind as it was not part of my one check-in luggage piece only. Oddly enough, it wasn't an issue going there, only on the return leg, same airline. Yeah, it's funny that how airlines sometimes do that. I think it's sometimes down to who's on the check-in desk as well, you know. But I don't know. Do we have plans to introduce a combined Shinai and Borga bag? No, not at the moment. I understand the demand for it. I do. But what I would say is the difficulty and the practicality, logistics of producing high quality Borga bags is already very, very difficult. And the the Borgo bags we've got on KendoStar right now I'm really happy with. We've got some of our own brand. We've got other brands on there as well, and they're super nice Borgo bags. But then when we start adding into the equation, okay, now we want a new design where we're going to put Borgo and Shinai into one bag, and then we're going to give it to airport baggage handlers and hope that it comes out the other side like in good condition. It's a bit of a tough ask, if I'm honest with you. I know some people have tried it, and I know there's other companies out there that have tried it, and that's fine. But I think it's a big ask, and I think, if I'm honest with you, I've seen people use like golf bag like carry-alls and stuff that can fit the Shinai and the Borgo in, and they probably do the job better and could probably produce, like, because they're from like massive like golf company or sports manufacturers that are much bigger than any of us Kendo companies. So you probably find that you end up with a better option for them with something like that anyway, that's probably cheaper. Because if we started pouring in this sort of R&D into making something like that, and then really focused on making it at to the level that meets the KendoStar brand quality in the first place, and be able to be confident that it'd be pretty much indestructible by airport luggage handlers, it's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost a lot of money, and I don't know if I can put it out there at a price that I think is reasonable, when I know that there's probably alternatives that are an equally viable option. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'd look at golf bags for now. Okay. Next one. Hello again, Sensei. Please explain what's the lineup etiquette at the beginning and end of class for people of the same dan grades. Is it age or age of when receiving the dan grade, or if they hold particular position in the dojo or national federation? How important is it to line up in this manner? Would a random lineup be acceptable? So, in my experience, the lining up by dan grade is like outside of Japan thing. I don't think I ever saw a lineup in Japan that was based on dan grade. No one cares about your dan grade, funny enough, over there. I've said this a few times now, and it was super evident to me like January last year when I went over there for the most part. And I think that was a big eye opener for me, actually. I think there's a couple of times I had that sort of eye opener after I got like 6th dan, which like in Europe is like considered a somewhat high grade. And I was like kind of a little bit proud of myself, I guess, for getting through the grade. And then like the first time I went to Japan after getting it, like nobody even asked me like about it. I was like, I guess nobody cares. And then I kind of realized, actually, yeah, well, everybody already is 6th or 7th dan anyway. So, and some people aren't. Some people are 5th dan, and nobody cares that they're 5th dan, because nobody looks at him and says, well, he's only 5th dan and he's 6th dan or 7th dan. Nobody looks at it like that. Nobody cares about it. So, it was a bit of an eye opener for me as well. And that was a few years ago, actually. That was like five years ago or more. Almost 6 years ago. When I first had that experience, but it was reinforced last year when I went over as well, and like nobody even asked or cared. You know, people care a bit more if you're 8th dan, but even then, it's more because you're like you're super famous for being good at kendo rather than because you've got X grade. So, you know, if everyone's the same dan grade, then, and you're using dan grade as the metric to line people up, then yeah, what do you do if everyone's the same grade? I mean, it's up to the dojo to decide, really, because it's a kind of like in Japan, for example, in most of the ones I've been to, most practices I've been to, generally line up is in order of age, generally. There might be some exceptions where people are unsure of the age, but you know, even if you don't know someone's exact age, you can tell if somebody's 15 years older than you, right? Or 15 years younger than you. So tends to be in that sort of thing. And then the standard practice is to try and sit as low as you possibly can in the kind of zone that fits your age bracket. And there's a little bit of you know, you have a little bit of a sort of, please let me go there. And they say, no, you must sit above me. You say, no, you must sit above me. You have a bit of one of those for show. And then you end up just sitting where you sort of stood, you know. One of you ends up being more stubborn than the other or something like that. 'Cause again, nobody really cares where you sat in the line either. It's like, it's not like it comes with some sort of prestige. So yeah, I mean, if it was me, like, and in my dojo, it's what I do. So I just do it on age, because I think that's more appropriate. So we do it by, we do it by grade in my dojo, because we don't have the same, you know, because Kendo is learned differently outside of Japan. In Japan, generally, the age is the bigger signifier of like your place in the social hierarchy, right? And you don't have like people who are like, I mean, you do, but it's pretty rare where you'll have, you know, someone who's like older than the teachers who's a beginner, right? That's pretty rare, right? But even like if you have kids that start a bit later, let's say most kids start in the first or second year of primary school, but let's say someone starts in the 5th year of primary school, right? So they're like, what, 10 or 11? Yeah. Then I'm a bit older. Is that 11? No, 10 or 11 in it, yeah. I'm trying to remember my Japanese school years now. Anyway, they would still sit with the other 5th years. They wouldn't sit at the bottom. They'd sit with the other 5th years. They'd sit in the order of the years, generally. So that's how it generally goes. But I don't think it matters all that much. You know what I mean? Okay, last one. Hi Fish Sensei, why do we kiai ya and to in Kendo kata? I've been saying this for over a decade of my Kendo, but never thought to ask what it means or what the history behind it. So I tried to research this a little bit. It's not easy to find an answer. I'm not sure it's known for sure. I believe it comes from like Itoryu or something like that. And I believe there was more as well, not just ya and to. I think there was others as well, different vocalizations. So I think that's, you know, that's where they come from. Why ya and why to, I don't know for sure, to be honest. I read a thing that said that ya was like a kind of expression of kind of aggression, and the to was more of like an expression of kind of being calm. But I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's true. And I don't know if anybody knows if it's true or not. I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if it's like, it's from probably what they did in some kenjutsu that they used to make the kata. And then instead of using all the different ones that they have in the kenjutsu, they just picked 2 of them and just stuck with that, just to simplify it and unify it, which was the whole point of making the Nihon Kendo kata, right? So yeah, I think that's pretty much the best answer I can give on that, I'm afraid. So yeah. So there we go. We're at the end. Thank you very much for joining me today, staying with me to listen to all these answers. Don't forget to set out the YouTube ninja robots, robot ninjas, whichever way you want to say it. Like, share, subscribe, comment, notifications, all that stuff. Let's get to 7 million. Don't forget to shop at KendoStar. Hopefully my nose will be clear and unblocked next week and my voice will be pretty much back to normal. I don't know if I don't know if my voice is my voice normal? Let me know in the comments. I don't know. I can't tell. In my head, it sounds like weird because it's all like bunged up and stuff. But I don't know if it's coming out like that. So let me know in the comments down below and use the word Kendo in the same sentence. Thanks for joining me today, folks. Have a great weekend. See you next time. Bye-bye.